Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Yesterday I opened up a bit of a can of worms during my video. And I kind of knew I was going to. I actually mentioned it during the video. And what that can of worms is a lot of people thought I was playing into the hands of the left when I called a firearm a weapon. And even more so when I admitted that semi-automatic long guns were primarily designed for murderizing peoples. That's what they were designed for. A lot of people thought, oh, you're just playing into the hands of the left. When you say guns are weapons and they're made for killing, you're just giving them an excuse to take them away. And I want to talk today about how I disagree with that completely. In fact, I find it to be the opposite. When you refuse to admit they're weapons and you refuse to admit that that's their purpose, to actually inflict harm on someone else, you're playing into the hands of the left when they are demonizing those things. Because here's the reality. Weapons being able to harm other people, that's their purpose. And that's a noble purpose if you use them properly. If some little old lady defends herself with a pistol and puts a bullet between the eyes of some maniac with an iron pipe that was going to take her out, her, an innocent person, that's not a tragedy. That's what firearms are for. They're great equalizers. They prevent people who are stronger from victimizing people that are weaker. And the way they do that is they enable the weaker person to inflict harm of an equal or even greater amount than those people were going to inflict on the innocent person. It's just the way it is. They are weapons. And when you allow the left to demonize the word weapon, you're playing into their game, because then you find yourself painted into a corner where you can't admit that your firearm is what it obviously is. You're allowing them to control the narrative. That's negative. And as far as whether semi-automatic rifles are meant to harm other human beings, well, that's kind of indisputable too. All the advancements that have led up to them are pretty much made because people were looking for ways for weapons to be more efficient during warfare, during battle. That's where most of these advancements came from. Everything from the revolving cylinder on a revolver to a Gatling gun, a belt-fed system, to semi-automatic weapons that are magazine-fed. They were all designed so that those weapons are more efficient in combat. So it's kind of hard to say that, well, in combat, the whole goal was to, shoot trees next to the other bad guys and scare them away. No, it was meant to take out the opposing forces. That's what they were designed for. And those also play a part in daily life too, because they're good, like I said earlier, for self-defense. But there's reasons why I don't like when people play into this. I don't like it when they play into this whole narrative that saying weapon is bad or saying that they're meant for inflicting bodily harm is bad. And that's because you kind of negate the main point of the Second Amendment. You can say, oh no, my gun's not for killing, it's for self-defense. Well, that's fine. That's what you're using that tool for. That's what you're using that weapon for self-defense, and that's a noble purpose. But it's what it was designed for was to be more efficient at dispatching bad guys. And when you say that that's not what your weapon's for, well, then you're negating the number one point of the Second Amendment, which was to maintain a ready fighting force of civilians who could fight back against foreign or domestic powers. That means our own government even. Law enforcement, I think, is going to be the first place that people have to start fighting back, because law enforcement is the fingertips of the government. When they overreach, the first thing that gets to us is the local law enforcement. So when you say, oh no, I don't keep guns for that, well then you're saying I don't keep guns for the main purpose of the Second Amendment. Hunting is a byproduct. Self-defense is a byproduct. Sports shooting is a byproduct of the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment says you have a right to keep and bear arms because we need to have every citizen able to become part of a fighting force if needed. The other things come from, well, if the Constitution guarantees you the right to have a gun and you also have a right to self-defense, well, then you have a right to use that gun for self-defense because of two different principles combined together. Those are byproducts of the Second Amendment. The number one purpose of the Second Amendment is to maintain a ready fighting force. And that means me and you being able to keep weapons whose main purpose is to dispatch the enemy. What kind of fighting force are you if all your weapons are just defensive? Now, I know a lot of people have been tricked into thinking you have to say they're defensive or else you sound like a monster. But that's just not the reality. And you are playing into the left right there. You're playing into their game. So stop doing that. That is something we don't want to find ourselves backed into that corner. Because that is not an argument we can win. You can't win an argument saying guns are just defensive or guns are just for little old ladies to defend themselves or my gun don't kill nobody. Well, no, it hasn't killed anybody, but that's what it's designed for if you have to. It's designed to be effective if you have to defend your life against someone attacking you or if you have to fight an opposing force that's trying to change your way of life. That's the reality of firearms. Saying differently does not help our argument at all. What we have to point out is, yes, these things are capable of great harm. But we, as individuals, have a right to them, and we use them with discretion. We use them properly. The fact that so few people out of the millions and millions of gun owners that there are misuse their guns, that shows you how well-maintained they are and how well-maintained that right is. Most people understand what those guns can do, and they treat them responsibly. And they know that they don't have a right to harm other people. So they don't, even though they have the ability to, because of owning a firearm. It's just like cars. Cars are capable of great destruction. We could make it to where cars weren't as easy to destroy people with. You could say, okay, all cars now are going to be lightweight material. They're only going to go 50 miles an hour tops. 25 if they're in a city, they're going to be disabled to 25 in a city. We could do things like that. But that would delete their main purpose of being able to get from point A to point B quickly in some cases. That would really take away the usefulness of the car. Same thing with firearms. When you try to pretend that they're something that they're not or try to make them be something they're not, you're diluting the actual purpose of them. So yes, they are weapons. And yes, they were designed to kill people. That's their point. That's why we need to have them. To fight opposing forces, to defend our lives, and in some cases to hunt and sports shoot. And like I said, sports shooting especially is just a byproduct. It's just something, since we have them and we need to train with them, we might as well have fun training with them. But the real reason to have them is to be a fighting force. And then after that, self-defense. After that, sports shooting and hunting. So don't play the semantics game with the left. Don't let them demonize violence. It's kind of like how in the comic books they like, well, Batman won't kill nobody because he's better than them. And he'd be just as bad as them if he killed the Joker. No, he wouldn't be just as bad. The Joker's killing thousands of people every time he gets out. If Batman took his life, he'd save thousands of lives. That wouldn't be a tragedy. That's not an aggressive act. That's not, a negative act. That's a positive act. That's protecting society. Whereas when the Joker kills people, that's someone killing innocents for no reason. That's bad. So every instance of violence or taking someone's life is not bad. And when you try to pretend it is, you get painted into a corner, like I said, where you can't win the argument. So don't play the game. Because like I said, in the end, guns are meant for killing. They are weapons. And our ability to determine when they're used for that and when they're not is what makes them safe. Because they're just a tool, we are in charge, and in the end, it's our own good sense and our own discipline and our own ability to know right from wrong that makes them not only safe, but essential. All right, everybody, that's the show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, I want people to remember one thing. I am not opposed to contrary opinions. If you feel differently about today's topic than I do, feel free to come and talk to me about it in the live chat tonight. We have a live chat every night at 6 p.m. Pacific time, except for Mondays and Wednesdays where it's at 5 p.m. Pacific time because I'm the opening act for Never Enough Ammo. But every other night it's at 6 p.m. So come on in on any of those nights. Come in tonight if you have a contrary opinion and just say, hey, my opinion is contrary to yours, or it's slightly different than yours and I would like to get it expressed on your show. I am very welcoming of that. Trust me. Anyone who watches my show knows that. I love contrary opinions because when we discuss differing opinions with each other, you usually do one of two things, or one of three. One, either you both walk away feeling the way you felt before, or you might change the other person's mind. That's a great thing when you change someone's mind. Or in my opinion, even better, you might change your mind. Because being able to change your mind when presented with new evidence, that's the sign of a truly responsible, intelligent person. So anything I say you want to disagree with me on, feel free to come to the live chats. Let me know. You can either do it from the text chat or you can come in live. You don't have to have a camera, just a microphone, and we can discuss it. So like I said, come on over. And also just come on over if you want to have fun and enjoy the conversation. Like I said, every night, 6 p.m., except for Monday and Wednesday when it's at 5 p.m. With that being said, I am out of here. I hope you all enjoyed the show. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.